right, it's a beautiful day. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on FLIPSIDE today. It's going to be a very, very fast one, actually. It's an abridged version. We're doing 30 minutes instead of a regular 1 hour. Now, we know that coronavirus is like the trendy thing. Everybody's talking about coronavirus. We're giving tips, we're educating, we're sensitizing, and doing our own bit as a media house to encourage and support everyone, even though they're home at this point. But beyond this whole lockdown gist, coronavirus is spreading issues, so many other things are making the news and enough importance aren't given to them, like the story of Funke Akindele being charged to court and being fined 1,000 naira, 100,000 naira for her and her husband each to pay for having a party that was having more than 20 people. And at the same time, you're seeing the crowd in the courtroom way above the 20 people that was actually agreed by the Lagos state government. And so many other things have made headlines, like this video I'm about to play, where we have policemen enforcing this lockdown order, making sure that stores are shut. And also, is this really the right way to go about all of this? On FLIPSIDE today, we'll be talking about violations resulting from the COVID-19 lockdown. My name is Daisy Leo Asikidi. We're quickly going to have this clip of what some policemen were accused of doing in a bid to enforce the lockdown order in Lagos State. Okay, so that was just one video circulating the social media. We have a lot more other videos that have been coming out. Some pictures too that are not verified. They could actually be old incidences, but trust Nigerians, this period where we're talking about violations, there are pictures and videos everywhere. Okay, so I have a guest in the house who's a human rights activist. He's someone you've seen on FLIPSIDE a couple of times. I'm talking about Dr. Bright Onyovo-Kuko. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
If not for anything that I get to pronounce that your surname. Okay, so the clip we just saw, there are every other things beyond this on social media. But the first question I want to ask, why do we have to go enforce a lockdown order? I mean, it's just lockdown. It's not as serious. Why do we have to carry as much guns to go enforce such an order in this country?
Well, this is actually a failure of the system, wherein you feel that somebody who you accused of violating an offense does not have a right. So you violate the person's human right to enforce your own law, which is actually bad. But whatever I'm going to say is going to be on this premise. First and foremost, enforcing the lockdown is not something that is actually bad. It's because of the nature of the coronavirus. It's something that you don't get consciously, and it's something that if you have it, you cannot keep it with you. You give it to innocent people. So that's just one way to curtail it. So we may not really have issue with the lockdown or social distancing, but enforcing it is what we are actually against. You don't enforce lockdown by violating human rights and so many other things. Like you watched that video clip just now. If you say lockdown and you leave essential place, what were they doing there? They are selling drinks and so many other things. This is not food. So again, you look at it, and sometimes it makes you begin to wonder what kind of training, what kind of mentality our law enforcement agents have, and you could see wickedness laced behind whatever thing they are doing. Let's take, for example, the shop they were destroying just now. Let's assume it belongs to one of their wives. They wouldn't do that. And so we shouldn't, we should treat everybody equally, treat everybody with the right frame of mind, should remove every iota of wickedness. And if sometimes they like those policemen there, for example, they may not even understand what the lockdown is all about, what they're even trying to achieve. It's just a question of, let me borrow the fella language, the zombie way of doing things. And if you are a policeman or whatever law enforcement agent you are asked to go and enforce something, the first thing is you should be informed. When you get there, you need to also educate the person. You should find out the reason why the person is there, why the person is violating the law. And of course, if you educate the person, you'll be surprised that the person will just, okay, I've heard, and he close up the shop, and the person will go. Instead of you going to destroy the things, you may just be assuming that the person is aware of what is going on there, but really, he or she may not just be informed.
Okay, now, still talking about the police enforcing the lockdown order, something actually happened this week in Abia State, Aba, and a policeman was trying to stop a car from moving because the car was violating the lockdown order in that state. So in the process, it said his hands touched the trigger and the bullet accidentally discharged, which is a common word. I think even a newborn baby in Nigeria has heard that word before, accidental discharge, and hit someone. And now it was not just an injury. The guy died in the hospital, a guy called Godwin. It made the news and people were talking about it. But I'm thinking, don't you, as a rights activist, don't you think it's time we took the guns from our Nigerian police, maybe just give them stun guns and water cannons only, because we keep hearing this accidental discharge thing. It's becoming worrisome.
Well, looking at the way some of our policemen behave, yes, before you could say your gun had accidental discharge.
You cocked it.
Yeah, process of you cocked, and of course, even if you cock your gun, you still have that safety knob that you still put in that place. First and foremost, what is the mindset of the policeman? You are going to enforce lockdown. Are you going to fight?
It's not war.
Are you scared of somebody holding a gun to attack you? So why should you go there with a gun that is already cocked? Why should you go there with a gun that is already cocked? If I thought you are even going for a riot or something, there are other things that you can actually use. You're not going to meet an enemy. The policeman is not going to where Boko Haram is. The policeman is going to see a fellow citizen. Even the policeman, is he even sure, if he's not on duty, is he even sure of himself, of what he has in the house? There are things that are making people to violate this lockdown. If proper system are in place, I don't think it will require those stuff. So for a policeman to be on a kind of duty and you are going there with a cocked gun, and you're not talking about accidental discharge, is something that is really disappointing. They can actually take a cue from some policemen in developed nation. What do they do? They are there, fine, seeing the crowd and some of other things, not going to attack them. Nobody is fighting you or anything. So I don't see any reason. We need to reorientate our police very well, because one very senior police officer said something one day, and anytime I see some of them with the way they hold their gun recklessly, I will just begin to wonder. The gun is AK-47 or thereabouts. It's an assault weapon. One pull can release so much bullets. And he said, you dehumanize somebody and give the person a weapon. Because some of them, the state of their mind need to be evaluated, if not on a daily basis. You know, you need to be evaluated, because sometimes you see some of them, when you react, the way they talk, you need to wonder what has happened, as in what little thing has happened that is making you get this angry. Well, I don't want to say if some of them may be under the influence of certain things. I don't know, but it's not necessary for this lockdown. I stand to be corrected, but I know that if there is proper risk communication and community engagement, you discover that compliance will be very, very easy. Let's take, for example, day before yesterday, the news has gone around that the market want to be fumigated.
Yes.
Market women should relocate to the nearest
Primary school.
to the nearest primary school. Is there compliance or not? There is. So that's to tell you that if there is adequate information, all those things wouldn't go wrong. So if fine, I know that some people may be stubborn, but being stubborn does not mean you should even exercise any form of jungle justice on them. For every law, there are procedures for those who are violating it. Somebody in Austria who were talking some days ago, they're also on this lockdown, and he said if they see you outside without permits to be outside, you pay about 3,000 euro or thereabout.
Wow.
The way and manner you pay is none of their business, and they will know how to collect it.
Of course.
You understand? So if you see that, fine, they give you them adequate information, the fine is there, the people understand, and so compliance is easy. But in our own environment, don't even forget again that some persons also appear to be above the law in our environment, and people are seeing them and watching them. So what do you actually expect? So it's a miss.
Combination of many things. Okay, still talking about the police, which today is not just about Nigerian police, but you're also a doctor, and you've been very active in this COVID-19 fight. I've been seeing your work on social media as well, and driving through Ubo down towards Solution, we met some roadblocks on the road, and we saw the policemen searching cars. Interestingly, my car wasn't stopped, and we drove past, but in the process I saw them stopping cars very close to the windows, trying to get papers, and we're talking about maintaining social distance. So we talked about this on radio, and a friend of mine said she actually heard a guy, when they stalked her, the guy behind us telling the policeman, "Oga, beg, give me space, social distance, you can't be too close to me before you sneeze and I don't know what you're carrying." And the policeman got real pissed and tried assaulting him, and it was all a big fight and people gathering and all that stuff. So how do we actually tell the Nigerian police force to maintain social distance? Because a lot of them are not.
You see, this social distance is something that in our environments, you see somebody, you extend a handshake. We almost had that, But as part of creating awareness, I deliberately don't shake people anymore.
Yeah.
So even if you extend your hand, I keep my hand back. So he does for you to say, "Oh,
I'm not supposed to do that."
Coronavirus. At that point, we just use the leg to make this. We are not quarreling. We are together. So if, like just some weeks ago, not too long though, I had a program with the Nigerian Air Force. The commandant there, as soon as I entered his office to kind of introduce myself, of course, the military, the handshake is something that is also, the man brought his hand, and I didn't give him a hand, and he understood immediately.
Oh.
You understand? He didn't pick offense. So if somebody should tell the policeman, "Sir, please, I need space, social distance," it is what is in vogue now. So it may not stop the man from doing his job, but getting angry to the point of wanting to assault somebody just speaks volume of one thing: ignorance. If he's aware of what is on and he's supposed to be one of those that should be promoting it, he shouldn't get angry over such. So I also feel that I've spoken to some policemen, and they are aware. So for the one that is trying to be like a bad egg, such person should be dealt with.
Quarantine.
It should be identified and dealt with.
Okay, now then last question before we start packing our bags to go. Fuke Akindele was accused of throwing a party. She made a video on social media claiming that she was shooting a movie in her house, it's really true that she shoots Jennifer diaries in her house, Jennifer's diary. She also does indoor streets in her estate. Most of the movies she makes with her husband, they do it in the house, so they have sets and everything. So she claimed that the bulk of the people in that party were casts of her videos, and they were already in boot camp before the lockdown. In that they do auditions for these people. She said many of them were not from Lagos State, so they had to stay back and continue filming. Pending when lockdown is over, then they release their videos and say nothing was happening. So no one actually came from outside of town, and they didn't have encounter with anybody. Hence the reason she threw the party. She apologized for putting it on social media, but she actually said there was nothing wrong with having a party with your family members. So if you're a married man and you have 20 children, what do? You send your kids out of the house? But then again, people didn't listen to her explanation. She was charged. Nigerians were calling for her to be dealt with, and she was dealt with, and then we started calling for her to be released, and then she was released. But the issue I have is, shouldn't Funke be thinking about suing the Nigerian police or the legal system right now, because they also endangered her by bringing her to court to people she doesn't know, with lots of press there, policemen there, lawyers. The place was actually packed full, and there were more than 20 people there.
Well, you see, when you look at the basics, the people in that party, the truth be told, they don't stay in a house.
Are you sure?
Wait, no. They don't stay in a house, because even if they stay in a house, at the point of coming to say you want to arrest them or anything, you would have made them there. Does Naira Marley stay in a house?
He said it was. She said it
No,
was part of the
those Naira Marley. You see,
she said he was part of the set.
Businesses were closed. Businesses were closed. So our case should be an exception. Marriages were shifted. Ceremony were cancelled. Even the Olympic was shifted. The sports festival in Edo State was shifted. Even when at the point that we felt Edo State was not at risk. So everybody made efforts to ensure that they comply with the rules that is on ground. And mark you, she is an ambassador who ought to be well informed. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So one reaction brings another. And of course, being at the court premise, you're going to have, of course, she has her own personal lawyer. Some other lawyers who maybe are fans or whatever, so let us come and try to help. And of course, the press would come. So you may not be able to stop them at that point in time. Most especially, you may not even be expecting. And she was going to be arraigned. I don't think it was announced publicly that today we're going to be arraigning Funke Akindele. So somehow news will go around, and trust Nigerians, they will all crowd in that place. So the best bet would have been it should have happened. Because since it has happened, other things will follow.
I would have said, because the courts were supposed to also be on lockdown. Why did they open because of Funke Akindele? I mean, I would have said, I'm not saying this because she's a TV person. I would have thought that they would take the case to her house and judge it there.
Why? Is her house a court?
No, but the court is locked.
No, her house is
Her
house is not a court. You understand? Sure, because laws are in place, and cases will still be heard. You understand? But it's just a warning that rather the lesson that probably next time, seeing that the way it is, when you take somebody who is a celebrity, who has so much fans, before you know, crowd will be on. If I even been in court was being streamed live, you see a number of persons who will be watching, commenting and all those things. So you yourself, the crowd that you pull. You have to be careful when doing some of all those things. But don't forget, she's an ambassador trying to educate people on the COVID-19. So how come you, that is an ambassador, you are the one? See, she's the one that called. They say how did they put that parable? She threw a pebble and she got stones in return. I was watching a apology on
Instagram.
Twitter, on a Twitter handle, and she was almost crying. So people were making some other comments and all those things. But then, the truth of the matter is that if she's not dealt with in that manner, many other persons will not also obey, and at least let that one serve as a mark of seriousness that we're actually serious with what we are doing. It's not a question of posting it on media. You understand? It's a question of being conscious of it. Like just like I'm inside my house, I will not start violating things that have to do with what shouldn't be. I mean, what am I trying to tell my own children? You understand? So it's something that she was the one that started it.
Then if I have 20 children, 4 wives, 16 children, plus myself, can we be together because of lockdown?
Well, yeah, see, you look at it.
Prove it that we're
look at it. Your family is not a social gathering. Just like some people will tell you, market, church, mosque, party. The church, the mosque, your get together, they are all social gathering. Your market is not a social gathering. The person you're going to buy something from, you've been to the market a number of times, you're a woman. You understand? What's your contact time with the person you buy something from?
It's quite brief.
You just do what you want to do, and you move away. You do what you want to do, and you move away. And in most cases, the distance is there. If she has her wares here, you are standing there. The distance is there. But like in this party, for example, now, are you telling me that people will not come, and shake hands, hug? You understand? Is it a big hall? Is it a big hall where you have maybe a hall that is meant for like 1,000 people? Then you're not having 20 or 50 people inside? No. It's a house.
Okay, touche. All right, we'll have your last words on these violations due to COVID-19 so we can go.
Well, for me, my message to the people is that let's try as much as possible to obey the rules that have been put down. Our system has not been good. Our health system, our social security system has not been good. People are crying of hunger. The government doesn't even know how to reach out to the people. Before the COVID-19 came, our health system is already overwhelmed. So if we don't take precaution and we allow it to go over, because as it is now, we are the ones in charge, because we can prevent, we can contain it. If we not let it go overboard, wherein we have to rely on the medical personnel, we don't have facilities. Some other countries are using stadiums and so many other things. We cannot cope. So we should all join hands together to ensure that we don't get to that level. If you don't have business coming outside, stay indoor. But again, we want to appeal the things that make people stay indoor, more especially something like light. BDC will never give you light, but they should try as much as possible. Give people light. You understand? Because people don't have money to eat. The little they have, they are reserving it. They now have to look for money to buy fuel for generator and so many other things. So everybody should just try to cushion the effects for each other. It's not easy to stay at home, but the benefit of the long run will be better than what will come up. In some of those countries, maybe a place like New York, for example, now they are crying very, very bad. Why? Because they were claiming rights and so many other things. They kept going on with what they were doing, still going to the beach, dancing and all those things. And you could see yesterday how many deaths, almost about 700 and something deaths yesterday. So Nigerians should just please understand with the government. We know the government have not been trying, but let's just for this period understand with them for our own good. If they've not been trying before, is it coronavirus that will not make them change? So don't let it get to us. Let's just try, do our part, continue it. If you don't have any business, stay indoor. This is not time to start entertaining unnecessary visitors or going to start visiting people. But lastly, if you know that your neighbor is not able to feed, you know them, try and share whatever thing you have with them, and we believe it will go a long way to help.
Okay, I just have a topic for next week from that statement, actually. Okay, so a lot of people call on our programs on radio. We have a lot of audience participation programs to call in, and for the bulk of you who keep calling and sending messages to us that coronavirus is not real, please get real, actually, because coronavirus is real. You don't have to wait to see your family member die before you know that death can be painful. So you all should be very careful. If you're not really bothered about protecting your life, please be bothered about your neighbors. Be bothered about the next person by your side. So you want to go get corona, you want to be sure that it's real by exposing yourself to danger. You're not just going to expose yourself alone, you'll be exposing several other people who will have contact with you. Let's be safe and obey the rules. Ladies, men, everybody, wash your hands frequently. For me, I'm always touching my face, so I do all I can to wash my hands and use my hand sanitizer like every minute I can, just lay my hands on it. So be safe. I'll be here again next week. Thanks for watching. I'm Daisy Leo Asikidi. Bye.